Coming up in today's show, Elky shows us his 5 stages for cooking fish perfectly on the barbecue. Neal cooks maple glazed pork with roasted pears and apples on a kettle grill. Our special guest is Luke Rutts, aka Skippers BBQ, and he talks to us all the way from Australia. Our dish of the week is inspired by DJ BBQ and its Spicy Mackerel Melts. And we go on a journey around the barbecue community to take a look at what you've been cooking. Welcome to the Lockdown Barbecue Show. Hello and welcome to the Lockdown Barbecue Show. This is our 10th programme and we hope you've had a really good week. This week, the government have eased lockdown measures and have allowed pubs and restaurants to reopen. So Elky and I thought we'd go on a little road trip. Now Elky, how are you and where are we?
I'm absolutely great, Neil, thanks. They've let me out on day release, so I couldn't feel better. I'm actually outside the shack, so it's good to be somewhere on tour. We're at the Fleur de Lis in Cranbourne, where we'll be catching up with the pub's owner, Matt Clark, later on in the show.
I'm looking forward to that. Now it's time for Elky's how-to, and he's going to show us how to cook fish on a barbecue.
In this week's how-to, I'm going to show you how to cook fish on the barbecue with 5 easy to follow steps. Some people find cooking fish on the barbecue a little bit daunting, but honestly, it really needn't be. Just follow these 5 simple steps to make your life a lot easier, and you'll soon be mastering cooking fish on the grill and the world is your oyster. No pun intended. Step 1, you want to make sure the skin of the fish is nice and dry. So take a paper towel, just rub it over both sides of the fish. Get it nice and dry, because if it's wet, that's going to cause your fish to stick to the grill. So step 1, get your fish nice and dry. Step 2, you want to lightly oil your fish. Doesn't need to be too much, just a thin coat of oil. Again, that's going to help stop the skin from sticking to the grate. Step 3, you want your grill grates nice and hot, whether you're using charcoal or gas. Make sure they're really hot, because if you put fish on a cold grate, that's going to cause it to stick. Step 4, you need a nice, clean grill grate. Don't go sticking it on a grill grate that's got burnt on crud. Give it a good brush off, maybe a light coating of oil, but make sure you brush off all the crud, anything that's left over from a previous cook. Just get those grill grates nice and clean, because again, a nice clean contact between the fish and the grate is going to promote that fish not sticking to the grill. And finally, step 5, don't try and turn the fish too early. Fish, the skin will tell you when it's ready to release. If you go to turn it and it's not quite ready, just go in with a spatula, a fish slice, with your tongs, whatever. Give it a gentle nudge, and if it looks like it's going to release, fine. If it doesn't, if it looks like the skin's going to stick to the grate, just leave it for another 30 seconds or so and then try again. Soon you'll realise that when it's ready to flip, when it's ready to turn, you'll be able to just turn it with ease without the skin sticking. You might worry that it's sticking to the grill, that it's burning, but trust me, if the skin isn't releasing, it's not ready. It will tell you, so just have faith in the process, and soon, once you nail that, you'll be doing it again and again and again, turning that fish and take your fish off the grill with a nice, perfectly intact skin. So that was my how-to for this week. I hope you find it useful. I hope you put it into practice and go away and start practicing with more seafood. Mackerel's amazing on the grill. Talking of mackerel, later on in the show, we've got DJ BBQ's Spicy Mackerel Melts as a dish of the week. So keep your eyes peeled for that one, and keep your eyes peeled for next week's how-to.
Some great top tips for us there. Now Elky, is mackerel your favourite fish to cook on a barbecue?
I would say it's definitely up there. Mackerel along with bream are 2 of my favourites. Talking of fish on the barbecue, our next guest is somebody that knows his way around seafood. He knows how to catch it, he knows how to cook it. It's Skipper Rutts.
Skipper, welcome to the show. How are you coping with lockdown in Australia?
Thanks for having me, guys. Yeah, it's been interesting. To be honest, I haven't hated it. I kind of like it. We've been staying home, cooking all day, and just people don't come over. It's been, I hate the situation. You know, it's bumming me out that a lot of people are out of work and things like that. But I'm happy to stay at home and use the barbecues and take some photos and do some filming. So yeah, we've been going okay.
So just for the followers that don't know, SkippersBBQ, Luke Rutts has got one of my favourite Instagram accounts. Catches amazing fish, cooks it perfectly on his grill, and takes amazing food photography. So Skipper, how did SkippersBBQ come about?
I was a commercial fisherman for a long, long time, and we filmed a documentary on one of our tuna boats. And as part of the documentary, the documentary makers know to be Skipper Rutts, and it's just stuck ever since.
What's your favourite fish to cook?
I'm going to say it's controversial being an offshore saltwater guy, a Murray cod. It's a freshwater fish over here, quite an iconic Australian freshwater fish, and they're beautiful. They're oily and a big sort of meaty fish, and when you cook they're so oily, they've got so much fat. When you cook them skin side down on the barbecue, the skin goes like chicken skin. It's amazing. They're really, if you ever get a chance to eat a Murray cod, I highly recommend it.
Have you always been into barbecue, or is this something that's you've kind of taken up recently? I mean, what's your kind of background with barbecue and cooking?
I've always been into cooking, and it's been a thing of mine. I always wanted like a ceramic barbecue. I saw Bobby Filet cooking on Big Green Egg a lot of years ago, and I said to my wife, I want one of those. And she said, you can't have one. You know, they're thousands of dollars. You won't use it. And I was like, I probably will use it a little bit. And she's like, no, you won't use it. You go fishing too much. So anyway, I talked her into letting me get one once Sebastian was born. And I looked around, and the best ones I could find, I thought, were the Kamado Joes. And the rest is history.
How long have you been into photography?
I got into it just after we started doing a documentary on my tuna boat. And we had a lot of camera guys on board, and I started getting into the gear that they had.
Skipper, which cameras and lenses do you use?
So I use Canon gear, mostly a Canon 6D or a 5D Mark IV. And I've got it here actually. There's the 6D on a tripod. And I mostly use either a 50mm or a 35mm prime lens. Otherwise, I use a 70-200 lens as well for a bit of the sort of closer shots. Any half decent camera body will take good photos, and half of it's about how you light the food. 25% is your gear, and the rest is sort of knowledge and how you take your photos.
I take a lot of inspiration from your photos and stuff, so I'm definitely going to listen to that advice. Where is your studio?
We actually built a second kitchen in our house so I could have a little photo studio in the house that wouldn't drive my wife mad. So we've got there's my lights. They're actually just $30 eBay lights. That's the tripod and camera set up there. One of the setups. Got the computer on the bench. All this sort of stuff in our regular kitchens out there. That's where the camera gear is not allowed out there.
So Skipper, once you've cooked something amazing on the barbecue, how much time do you give it to actually take photographs before you want to eat it and it doesn't go cold?
So when I started, we ate a lot of cold food, just mucking around with setups and stuff like that. Now my setup's just here, ready to go all the time. And it probably takes me maybe a minute to come through. It comes out from the barbecue area. I hand off the food to my wife, and one comes out here, a minute under the camera, and then we go and eat. Yeah, it doesn't take any time at all for us now, but definitely when I started, I ate probably 90% of my meals cold.
The Aussies kind of get stereotyped, you know, there's throw another shrimp on the barbie, mate. Obviously that's not true, but I mean, how would you describe the scene? Is it a lot of low and slow, or is it kind of, you know, a bit of a mixed bag?
Definitely low and slow is growing. It's a lot bigger this year than it was last year and the year before. A lot of people getting offset smokers, stuff like that. Traditionally, it's sort of a grilling sort of place, I guess. Throw a shrimp on the barbie, and I do that a lot actually. It's probably one of my favourite things to grill. But I'd say sort of a healthy mix now between low and slow amongst the barbecue enthusiasts. You know, the regular sort of punters are still gas barbie, half a dozen snags or sausages and a few steaks. But definitely there's a wider community now that are experimenting and trying different things and getting away from that gas barbecue and, you know, getting charcoal barbecues and smokers and Webers and all that sort of stuff.
If you can only have one for the rest of your days, would it be seafood or meat?
Seafood because I love it, and probably for health reasons as well.
You do a lot with Wagyu beef, don't you? I'm always seeing that. I mean, I see stunning food photography on seafood, but you do a lot of stunning stuff with some Wagyu as well.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, one of my childhood friends is a guy over here. He is Mr. Wagyu beef in Australia. He looks after me really well. If you can see my fridge, how much there's a full ribeye in there at the moment, a whole tenderloin, a giant rump. We're pretty good for Wagyu here.
I wish I had a freezer full of Wagyu.
It's a good product. It's actually an F1 Wagyu, so it's a Black Angus cow crossed with the Wagyu gene, like inseminated by Wagyu beef. So it's 50-50, and I honestly think it's actually a better product than purebred Wagyu. I think you get a bit more beefiness that you get from a Black Angus cow on top of the Wagyu. Sometimes, and I'm sure most people agree, purebred Wagyu can be, while it's a luxurious sort of cut and meat, sometimes it's a bit too rich. It's not something you would eat all the time.
Skipper, thank you for being an amazing guest on the Lockdown Barbecue Show.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's been a pleasure and a real honour. I really love the show. That you guys have had some really cool guests, and I'm really, really honoured to be one of them. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Skipper. It's been a pleasure to have you on, mate. So enjoy those beers, and we'll catch you again soon.
Cheers, boys, from Australia.
I'm sure you'll all agree that Luke captures food dishes brilliantly. Now, Elky, his photographs are amazing.
They are, yeah. You've only got to take one look at his Instagram page. The way he presents his food, the way he photographs his food, absolutely stunning.
Now, we're here at the Fleur de Lis in Cranbourne, and apparently Thomas Hardy used to stay here in the 19th century.
That's a bit before my time, Neil. Bit before my time. I don't even know who Thomas Hardy is. But anyway, it's a lovely pub, and earlier on I got to chat with the owner, Matt Clark. Matt, thanks for having us at your lovely pub, the Fleur de Lis. The government have obviously eased restrictions. The pub's allowed to open. You must be happy with that.
Yeah, really happy. It's good to get back open. We've had a busy lockdown, but it's really good to get back open and get serving some food.
So you bought this place in September, and you've done a lot to it since you took it over. Talk us through what you've done and what the plans are.
So we built all this outdoor cooking area. Built a new outdoor kitchen here. Painted the pub all outside and painted all the pub inside and all the restaurant. So put our sort of stamp on it, which is good. It's given us time to do that. So we've used the time well.
And what's your plans with the outdoor kitchen?
Lots of fire cooking. Fire, more fire.
If you'd like to book a table for a meal or you fancy a weekend getaway, then check out the website, details below.
Now it's time for Dish of the Week.
This week's Dish of the Week is a firm favourite of mine. It's Spicy Mackerel Melts, taken from DJ BBQ's Fire Food Book, and it's an absolute winner. So those that follow me on Instagram will know that I absolutely love the mackerel melts from DJ BBQ's Fire Food Book. Mackerel grilled over fire, it's a match made in heaven. Top that with cheese, chillies on toasted chia batter. It's absolutely epic, so I'm going to show you how we make it. So first things first, we've got our mackerel. I'm using whole mackerel here that have been gutted by my fish supplier. You can use fillets, they will work just as well. So all we're going to do first and foremost is dry the skin on these. Give these a wipe down with a bit of kitchen roll just to get that skin nice and dry. Once you're happy that the fish is dry, we're just going to put a very tiny bit of oil over the fish, over the skin. This is also going to help and make sure that the fish doesn't stick to the grill. So again, just all over that skin. That's all there is to it prep-wise, so let's go and get these on the grill. So we've got a nice hot grill, nice hot grate, nice clean grate. We're just going to go ahead and lay the fish onto the coal. Once you're happy that the skin is crisped up and you've got a lovely bit of char on there, we're just going to move these over to the indirect side, pop the lid down until they're finished. We're going to take these off when they hit 55 degrees Celsius. Once your mackerel have cooled down, we're going to go ahead and take the meat off of these, put it into a bowl and add some mayo. We're going to put some of the skin in there as well because a nice charred, crispy skin just adds that extra level of flavour. And crispy fish skin cooked on charcoal is absolutely banging, so why wouldn't you chuck it in there? So let's just go ahead and start taking the meat off of these. Be careful not to put any bones into the bowl. Once you've picked all the fish off, you put it in the bowl. Just have one last check, just go through there with your fingers, just make sure there's no big obvious bones. You might get some smaller ones that get away from you, but to be honest, I've never had a mackerel melt where I've had a mouthful of bone, so the little tiny ones, I wouldn't worry about too much. Just take out any big obvious ones. Now to the mackerel, we're going to go in with a good squirt of mayonnaise, nice generous pinch of pepper. Mackerel loves pepper, and of course some salt. Then just mix that through. You'll notice we've got quite big flakes of fish. That's fine, that's how we want it. You don't want to mince it up too small. So now we're going to spoon this onto the chia batter. Once the mackerel's on, I'm going to take some grated mature cheddar. Don't buy low fat stuff, it won't melt. So take this and just get this over each of those. Trust me, if you make this for your guests, they will keep coming back and keep coming back and keep coming back. Such a winner of a dish. Back to the grill. Now we're just going to pop these over the indirect side. We're going to pop the lid down until that cheese is melted. Now they are called Spicy Mackerel Melts, so we're going to garnish these with some red chillies. So we're just going to thinly slice these red chillies. So there you go, Spicy Mackerel Melts, taken from DJ BBQ's Fire Food Book. I really hope you'll give this a go. Now let's take a look at what you lot have been cooking over the last week.
Your dishes are getting better and better every week. Now, Elky, which was your favourite?
This week I'm going to go with Barbecue Food Hub because he reared his own chickens and then he's cooked them, served them with a lovely chimichurri. It looked fantastic. Now, Neal, last week you cooked up a lovely pork dish, didn't you? Should we take a look?
Let's do it. Cooked on the barbecue, maple glazed pork with roasted pears and apples is a family favourite. It's so tasty and great all year round. To make this, you'll need a pork joint weighing around 1.5 kilos and remove the skin, 4 sprigs of fresh sage, 150 millilitres of sparkling perry, 3 tablespoons of maple syrup, 2 tablespoons of rapeseed oil, 4 tablespoons of Dijon mustard, the zest from an orange, 3 pears halved and cored, and 4 apples sliced into quarters. Prepare your barbecue and spread the coals along either side, leaving an empty space down the middle. This is where the roasting pan will sit on the grill. Chop the sage sprigs and put in a bowl with the perry, syrup, oil, mustard and orange zest, and mix to combine. Pour over the joint and cover with foil. I'm using a digital oven thermometer with a probe so that I know the exact temperature of the pork during the cook, and I'll take it off at 63 degrees Celsius. Baste the joint with the pan juices every 20 minutes. Add a splash more perry if it's starting to dry out. After 50 minutes, remove the foil and add the apples and pears. Once the pork joint hits 63 degrees Celsius, remove from the barbecue and let it rest. Leave the fruit on the barbecue for another 20 minutes and then serve with the pork. This is such a lovely meal and well worth a try during the summer. Now that pork dish is absolutely amazing and definitely worth trying. Now Elky, who's our special guest next week?
Next week, we've got an absolute barbecue superstar all the way from Texas. We've got Jess Pryles, aka Hardcore Carnivore.
I think that's going to be absolutely amazing. Now that's about it for today's show. A big thank you to Matt here at the Fleur de Lis Inn in Cranbourne for being our host. And a big thank you to our programme sponsor, Kamado Joe. Thanks for watching.
And a huge thanks from me, guys. Keep those fires burning, and we'll see you next week.